Welcome to another episode of the Sales Manager Academy podcast. As always, I'm your host, Omar, and we talk about leadership in the boutique retail world. So anything having to do outside of big box retail. Think wireless retail, think AV, think appliances, think anything of that nature where it's more specialized than broad, right? We actually have people that know what they're talking about for the most part. And we're not relying on, the sales of a bunch of little things to make up what we actually profit off of, what we actually end up living off of. And oftentimes it's not just the physical products that we sell, it's more importantly the services that go with it. So for instance, in wireless retail, it's not the physical products that they're selling. It's not the phones, it's not the watches, the tablets. It's the services to be able to use those on the network, right? And that's really the most important thing. Uh, Now, we talk a lot about different things when it comes to leadership. Yesterday, for instance, we talked about, uh, focusing on small little tweaks, small little trainings that you could do to make sure that you're actually leading through coaching, right? More so than trying to make big changes and not getting anything out of it, not getting your team to be able to perform uh, to go along with it. And that's why coaching is so important. On today's episode, we're going to kind of expand a little bit further into that and more so talk about three things that you as a leader, as a coach, are doing that's actually killing performance that a lot of people don't realize. Uh, for instance, if you've ever walked away from doing a coaching session with any of your salespeople and you're thinking, well, I told them what to fix. Oh my God, you're probably making one of the biggest mistakes a leader can make, period. Imagine a coach, football, basketball, baseball, doesn't matter, with the JV or varsity team and saying, well, I told the players what to do at our practice session. We didn't run any drills. We didn't enforce anything. We didn't run any practices. We didn't run any plays. I just told them what to do. Can you imagine what game day would be like? Yet that's what we're doing. And that is one of the biggest complaints. Go to Glassdoor, go to Indeed, go to fucking LinkedIn, go to any of the company sites. And what is one of the biggest complaints that you hear from employees, former or current? It's the lack of training for leadership. That is top three complaints for employees across the board is that the people in leadership, store managers, district managers, regionals, don't know what they're doing because they have no training. And you might be thinking, well, it's just one off. It's not a one off when it's consistently said over multiple different organizations. The unfortunate thing is that it's a trend in the industry, especially, for instance, in wireless retail. And it's a trend that can be bucked and changed. And it doesn't actually have to do a dramatic 180 effect, right? In the way that you're performing. It's just a small tweak, and you can start doing better training and development, and your people will notice it. And that's going to make a big difference in the way that everything is not just perceived, but also taken in. It's a big shift by a small change. A lot of people think that, for instance, a small degree of change doesn't mean or doesn't cause a big shift. But if you've ever been out in the ocean, a small 1 to 2% degree change over a long period, it's a big divergence. And that's what we're talking about. That's what I talk about when we're doing coaching sessions, when we're talking about leadership. We're not talking about making these big automatic changes that automatically come back to where they were at. We're talking about making small incremental changes that over time make a big difference. And that's the important thing to keep in mind, right? A lot of district managers think that coaching is just talking to reps about their numbers, right? You're coaching to the metrics, you're coaching to the KPIs, you're coaching to the numbers by telling them what to do next or where they're missing, right? And reminding them on what they're supposed to be doing. The thing is that that's not coaching. That's not even managing, right? That's telling people. And here's the thing, that doesn't create growth. What it does is it creates it creates dependency. Creates the dependency of your team needing to rely on you to tell them what to do. And that's not what we want to do. That's not what any of our people deserve from us. Okay. Now, telling is a passive style of leadership. For instance, if you could be guilty of this, let me know in the comments, right? But you know what I'm talking about. When you're telling people in a coaching session, you need to ask better questions. You need to make sure your positioning is better. You need to offer correctly, right? You need to say this during the offering. Those are commands that you're telling them to do. It's not a coaching session. You're not coaching them. Okay. Telling a rep what to do doesn't build the muscle memory that they need at that moment to be able to do it better the next time. Coaching is guiding reps to see and see the gap in their skills and build upon that gap, make it better, work on it to be able to close that skill gap themselves. It's not upon us to tell them what to do. They are not Lego pieces and we're just putting the Lego brick on top and okay, we did our job. We filled the piece. That's not it. They need to understand where they're deficient in and what they can do and what they need to do to be able to get better there. And that's where the psychology of leadership comes in. When it comes to coaching aspects, when it comes to developing and training people, you need to be more of a guide, a mentor, helping them get to the answers and trying to figure out themselves, and then also working alongside them to find solutions to it. And that does make a difference in the way that they think, in the way that they process information. And guys, a lot of these individuals haven't had somebody in their life that actually helped guided them towards figuring things out themselves. They've been so used to people telling them, barking things at them. This is what you need to do. This is what happens next. And this is what, instead of, all right, let's work with you. Let's work on your style. Let's see what works best for you, right? Let's go through goals, what you hit last month, what you hit this month. I'm not telling you, well, you hit this last month, and this is your goal for this month. Don't get me wrong. I have set standards, right? Like, okay, this is the bare minimum. My, I want to know what you want to hit this month. Knowing what the bare minimum is, knowing what you did last month, what do you want to hit? And part of that, and we won't talk about that today, but part of that is for them to understand, not know. I don't want them to fucking tell me on a sheet that, yeah, I get paid X amount of dollars if I sell this. I don't care about that. I care about them understanding their commission and knowing what that means for them if they want to hit a certain dollar value or a certain dollar amount for the month or for the year. That is what I care about. That is what's important to me for them to understand. Okay. Now, once they do that, once you've gone through, talked about previous goals, right? Previous attainment goals for this month, and they know what they want to hit, the most important part of it, the action steps. What do I need to do to be able to achieve that? What do I need to do to get me to that next step? Right? This is the actions I'm going to do when this happens. And you run through that. And the thing is that a lot of that practice is going to be through visualization. A lot of people don't understand how visualization actually affects attainment, achievement. A lot of people think that, oh, well, they have to physically do it. We have to do a physical role play. This is where the difference between doing something physically, like labor, and doing something mentally, like talking to people, soft skills. This is where that difference comes into play. With soft skills, a lot of it is going to be how we think, the actions we take, okay? How we say things, how we present the information. A lot of that can be done in ways where it can be visualized. And that actually becomes a lot more effective than me barking an order at you or us doing that awkward role play session where one of us is going to be the stupid fucking customer that's never going to walk in until that one blue moon in the year. I don't care about that. I care about the kind of interactions they see on a daily basis. And those are the kind of interactions that run through their brains when we're talking about role play sessions, when they actually start visualizing what they need to do, what they need to say, when they need to say it. And that's what we need to practice on. That's what we want to work on. But that's one of the important things. When you help them get through that and start visualizing that, when you start helping guide them in a coaching session to that, that actually does make a huge difference because you're no longer telling them what to do. They don't longer feel like a little kid. Now they're taking ownership through the guidance because they're the ones saying things. Now, part of that for you as a leader to get there is you have to ask questions. Coachings without questions is a coaching session without your people, your salesperson, your sales team. It's without them taking ownership. When you tell somebody something, when you tell somebody to do something, you, okay, I am now the owner of that because I told you to do it. You can say, well, this is what they told me to hit. I try to hit it, but I fall short. I have no ownership stake. That wasn't me agreeing to it. That wasn't me saying, this is what I'm going to achieve. Even if they agreed with you, it is still not them taking ownership of it because they're just agreeing with you to shut you up. We all know this. That is not a surprise. You're trying to get through because you're just trying to check off things off your checklist. That's not what you need to be doing as a leader. As a district leader, you need to be coaching your people to do this kind of stuff so it's more consistent. Okay, when you're first starting off, it's going to be on you to set the expectation, inspect what you expect, right? So you have to set those expectations and then you can inspect on them, but you have to be consistent with it. And when you start doing that, when you start coaching sessions and you're asking more questions and they're the ones answering throughout the conversation more, and they're the ones doing the majority of the talking, they're starting to take ownership of what's going on in the interaction. Okay. You don't want it to be a lecture. So stop talking 90% of the time. Ask questions and talk no more than about 20% of the conversation of the time. Okay. And then you're going to start to see the difference in the way that people start taking ownership of what they're saying and the actions that they plan on doing and what they will be doing. Okay. Don't tell them what to do. Your people want to be asked, especially people that have a want to increase performance. And that should be all the people on your team. They all have a want. That's the reason why we brought them on board. Getting that out of them is what we need to help them with. Okay. Ask them things, for instance, or like, what do you think needs to change? They're the ones who want to be asked so that they can get their information out. And at first, it is going to be a little bit awkward for them. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle because they're not used to somebody asking for their opinion and actually taking it to heart because it's no longer their opinion. This is how I see things. All right, now you're getting their perspective. Now you're getting their point of view. Now you're understanding a level of empathy that you didn't have before. And as a leader, that is very important, especially if you want to lead a great sales organization, great sales team. If you want to build one, you need to actually focus on that and get a better understanding of where they're coming from. Well, Omar, I just need to tell them what to do and they just need to be great soldiers. No, you're not a general. They can quit whenever they want. They're not forced to be there. Okay. And their success is your success. It is not the other way around. It is not my success is their success. As a leader, I'm only as good as my salespeople, as my front line. So if they're not being successful, that means I'm not doing a job. I'm not doing a great job as a leader. That's the only way around. There is no way around it. That is the only way through. You have to understand that. Okay. You have to ask questions to help drive reflection, and reflection is what drives growth. Remember, guys, part of it is visualization. So when people start to visualize what they're doing, what actions they're taking, what they could have done differently, you're allowing them to play that through their brain, through their mind. And guys, I've said this before, we've talked about this. Visualization, when you're doing those practices, your mind cannot differentiate between an actual client interaction, customer interaction, and a visualization one. Your mind thinks it's the same thing. So you're going to go through a lot of the ups and downs, but we can visualize it at a much faster rate than performing an awkward role play. And on top of that, there's a lot of nuances that are going to run through your employee's brain that they're not going to convey in an awkward role play session. Are role play sessions dead? No. I mean, they're going to be great when you're doing like an actual in-person training, right? A small group training, just to be able to give an example of something. But the true power of coaching sessions is the power of visualization. And that's what we need to get our people to. Now, focusing on results instead of behaviors, that's the last thing you want to do as a leader. Going back to the conversation we're talking about where people, leaders, managers really are coaching to the numbers. They're coaching to the KPIs. That is what the conversation's about. But about this number, this number. We're not focusing on the behaviors. If you want to get true change that's gonna last and is going to improve over time, we need to focus on the behaviors that are taken, on the habits that our people have, or more importantly, haven't established. And that's what we need to focus on. Okay. Don't focus on numbers. Don't focus on you need to get X amount of sales today. The numbers won't improve dramatically or truly be sustainable until the behaviors improve. I'm sorry. When the behaviors improve, that is when we're going to start to see a better performance output that is going to be consistent, that is going to continue to get better over time. And that's what you're looking for as a leader, not to repeat yourself over and over again. Trust me, your team fucking hates that. You hate it, and you cannot believe how much your team hates having to hear you repeat the same thing over and over again, right? But Omar, repetition is yes, I know what you're going to say. When we're talking about coaching and improving performance, it's not about repetition in the way that you think it is. It's about running drills, running practices. You do that through coaching sessions. You do that through visualization practices. And yes, we can do some role plays if, to kind of get an idea and set it to expectation. But the biggest thing is ensuring that our people are getting the practices in outside of client interactions, outside of customer interactions. Because when they're doing that outside of customer interactions, they're getting a better idea of what they need to do. So they're more prepared when that customer walks in the door or that client comes in or calls. They're better prepared for them. Okay. So real coaching is about drilling inputs, right? Coaching habits. Think of like greeting, posture, the way we do discovery, objection handling, right? What does that look like? Is that something I need to get better? Am I not asking better questions when a customer says no to this? Small little things done through visualization practice enable them to actually happen more consistently at a better rate. And that's what we need to focus on, guys. Okay. It's very important for our people. So instead of saying, hey, get more tablet accessory attach rates or get more, wearable attach rates, show me how you're transitioning from this device to this in your pitch. Could be something as simple as that. Let them walk you through what that interaction looks like. Well, I can't really think of, I just said, that's an issue. Okay, so let's work on that. What can we say? Let them be the ones to work through that. Let them think through it. Because when you tell them, well, say this, okay, I wouldn't do that unless they're super brand new, right? Like they're still fresh within their first 90 days. And I wouldn't do it until about 3 to 5 What else? What else? And if you don't know what that means, go back and watch the videos. You'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay. That's one of the secrets when it comes to coaching that nobody does. It boggles my mind. And when I've taught people to do that, it's blown their mind at how well it works and how well it increases performance. Something as simple as that. Okay. So keep that in mind, take it to heart. Stop telling people, start asking better questions in your coaching sessions. If you're doing coaching sessions without questions, if you're not asking questions in your coaching sessions, your people aren't taking ownership because you're telling them what to do. And stop coaching to outputs. Stop coaching to KPIs. Start coaching on the behaviors. The numbers will come. If we coach on the behaviors that drive the action, and the action is what drives the results will come. So you need to focus on that and continue to push on that. That's super, super important for people. And a lot of people don't realize that, don't understand that aspect of it. And it's always boggled my mind. But when you get to do that and you start getting better at that, you'll start to understand, hey, we don't have to make this drastic change. Small little changes over time yield big results. And that's what we're focusing on. That's what we're going towards. Okay. So if coaching feels like a lecture, your reps have already tuned you out. So you gotta fix that, right? Now, tomorrow I'm going to show you exactly how to coach and how to do a coaching session in 15 minutes or less without pulling reps off the sales floor, without overthinking it, and without sounding like a motivational speaker. Okay. But if you already think that, yeah, I've been doing this wrong and you want something right now to be able to help you, you can grab what we're going to be talking about tomorrow and start using it, start practicing with it. Just grab it from the link in the bio, grab it from the description video, right? There's a link in there and you can start using it. But that's what we're going to go over. I'm going to show you and walk you through what that looks like and what we can get from there. So guys, in the meantime, I want to thank you once again for spending time with us here at Sales Manager Academy podcast. As always, I'm your host, Omar. Catch you on the next one.